If you enjoy my work, please subscribe and like. Also, check out my Patreon for early access, patron bonuses, and stay sparkly. Street Fair, Book 2 of the Fairfolk Chronicles, written by Jeffrey Cook and Catherine Perkins, narrated by Fairy Princess Lolly. Chapter 6, The Goblin Market. The underside of the stage smelled like dirt, grease, stale beer, smoke breaks, and smoke breaks that weren't entirely tobacco. Over the fading sounds of instrument tuning, Megan could hear the cackling of the bale fires, but there was no heat. The smells and sounds of Fremont disappeared as she took another step forward. They were replaced by cackling laughter on one side, which was then overwhelmed by the sound of sobbing. She nearly opened her eyes, but remembered Justin's ordeal, his lost mentor, the lost centuries, all from wide-eyed misdirection on the paths. Megan kept her eyes shut tightly and kept walking. A few moments followed where she couldn't tell if she was falling, being spun around, or both. When that settled, she was hit by conflicting sounds, folk music, stomping feet, and laughter from her left, and from the distant right, discordant heavy metal and what sounded like chainsaws on steel. Her nose picked up freshly turned earth, livestock, fires, unwashed bodies, washed bodies with all sorts of scented things, and less identifiable impressions all hitting her at once. The real impact came when she finally did open her eyes and was assaulted by the sight of the market, a mile or more of sheer spectacle of colors and motion. Signs, tents, jugglers, acrobats, Pegasus rides, and countless other attractions and distractions. "About darn time," Aisling said. "I've been right here waiting forever." "Caw!" "I know time is relative here, Count. That just makes it worse." "Caw!" "Yes, it does. Now let's get going. I only get to shop for hyacinth petal edible fashions once a year." Lonnie nodded. "Okay, Kasha, do Jude and Maxwell still want to spend a while in the giant non-orientable cat tree?" "Yep. Come on, boys." Megan looked at Lonnie. "Non-orientable cat tree? You know cat trees, right? Those whole carpeted, scratching, posty structures?" "Yes, that's not the question." "Okay, you know Mobius strips, right?" Lonnie's finger sketched a twisted circle in the air. "They only have one side?" "Yes." "Well, imagine a whole bunch of big ones made of carpet and all glued together at the ends." Megan decided to stick with, "I'm glad the cats will have somewhere to play." She continued walking as the colors and sounds and smells filled the air. Megan stopped and stared, wide-eyed. "Souls Sold," read a messily scrawled sign in one corner. "It's okay, Megan," Lonnie said. "It really is. That's a shoemaker. He's just really bad at spelling." Writing also did not seem to be the forte of the hag stirring the giant brass kettle. The sign saying, "Sew Up," appeared to have been etched with a rusty red pen. Megan was going to choose to believe that the hag simply had rusty red pens laying around. She also was relieved to see a nice, normal hot dog stand to the left. As Megan reached into her pocket for the baseball card, Lonnie put a hand on her arm. "Don't," the shorter girl said. Justin looked at the stand, just a touch green. "I don't trust hot dogs in your world, much less these." "Hold out and we'll split some roast chicken," Lonnie suggested. "Or the curries in the Central Bazaar. They're guaranteed real mutton from sheep that were always sheep." Megan nodded, supposing that some of those thoughts were certainly enough to take the edge off her appetite. Still, she looked over quickly when she heard cries about eggs and was surprised by the museum-like display cases. "Fabergé eggs, golden goose eggs, stone eggs of the Ephesian lady," announced a fancily dressed creature. "The Ephesian temple was one of the 7 wonders of the world, right?" Megan remarked to her friends. art history really was the best history. Well, not every temple they built in that spot over the centuries, Cassius said with a shrug. Just the one that was destroyed by— Don't you dare, Lonnie interrupted her. Don't you dare say it. Don't you give him the satisfaction unless you can name the architects and every member of the work crew. Hey, even I'm not old enough to have known any of those people, and nobody took down the names of the work crews. Well, they made something. All he did was break it, and he thought that made him special, and I won't hear you make him right. He gets to be nobody. That's what he gets. Megan wanted to give Lonnie's righteous civil engineering indignation the moment it deserved, but she just noticed something. Ooh. It was the way the vibrations rippled through the paint that did it. Or maybe it was the colors. Megan walked closer and closer to the painting, stepping past a jade statue. The painting was very much like something she'd do, but unlike any of her works, the painting was alive. The autumn scene was full of red and orange leaves blanketing the ground and trees, lining the sides of a stream with not yet fallen leaves in the same shades. A soft wind carried the leaves around in small eddies and shook the branches gently. Every now and then, a bigger gust blew, sweeping up more leaves and disturbing the hiding butterflies, which drifted higher, eventually flying out of the panel, or resettling as the wind did. Despite watching, transfixed for several minutes, Megan couldn't see any repetition in the pattern. Interested? Asked the jade-colored woman. Megan nearly jumped as what she had presumed to be a statue spoke. Then she nodded. How much? How's this? She pulled the baseball card out of her pocket and handed it over. The woman looked at the card. Certainly. And would your highness like this delivered to your room at Anchokdera? Sure. She couldn't take it to her house, after all. It actually took a few moments to reflect on the fact that the woman must have meant her father's room, and Megan didn't recall having a room at Anchokdera. But there was no time to clarify, because as the painting was being taken from the market by a pair of trolls, Megan's eye was drawn by another shop being set up in an empty space a few lots down. In truth, shop might be giving it too much credit. A goblin with an especially long, hooked nose rolled a rock that was larger than he into the spot. Megan drifted closer while the goblin somehow tacked a poster, which included some writing and a picture of himself, up to the front of the rock. The next few minutes saw him dragging boxes and crates up next to the rock, and then unpacking all manner of collapsible shelves from them and lining the shelves with vials. Looking at his supplies, there was no way all of it should have fit in the relatively few containers. She finally got close enough to read the poster. Unlike a lot of the scratches and uneven letters, this was neat, even stylized. The Medicine Show. Ills cured, ailments resolved, curses lifted, snakes oiled. Satisfaction guaranteed. Walk right over, step right up. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, my practice does not deal in generified panaceas. All treatments are specialized to the condition, whether one needs a cure for the Black Death, the Black Eye, the Black Mood, something you painted black and now you want your window back. But do keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that not being romantically interested in the person others might prefer them to be is not, in fact, an ailment. Unlike some 2-bit operations, I do not insult my customers' intelligence with love potions. How many times, Megan wondered, had the guy had to tell someone that to end up putting it in his sales patter? She was glad that at least, whatever Lonnie might randomly advise, there was no way there'd ever be any magical pressure about dating Justin, or anyone. And Lonnie was wrong about Justin, of course. Lonnie tapped her on the shoulder. Megan jumped. What? You wandered off going, ooh. Sorry, bought a painting. And then there was that guy. Yeah, Lonnie said. It's interesting and all, but let's go get food, okay? Sure, where's Aisling? Megan looked at the bazaar-like area up ahead and wondered if there was the lamp exchange the pixie had mentioned. The group started towards the bigger tents with the promised curry. She was with us for a little bit, then she said she needed to check something out. I'm sure she'll be right. There was a loud squawking ahead, accompanied by a shout. Megan had, by this point, learned just enough Gaelic to wonder if Aisling even knew the target's mother. If you enjoy my work, please subscribe and like. Also, check out my Patreon for patron bonuses and stay sparkly.